we've got most of it wrapped up. We got some more wrapping to do. We got it sitting as low as we can. Going to start with the roof and work my way down. Just trying to keep the overspray and dust off of everything, especially the frame. The frame's already painted. Just trying to keep all that to a minimum. It's time to break out the blocking stick, see what we're up against. I'm just starting to block on this thing to see what's going on with it. You see some dents coming up. Looks a little wavy. There's epoxy on this. There's probably not a whole lot of build to it. So I only have, I think this is 220, 180, 220, somewhere in there. It's gonna be fine to find your dents. And then we'll sand it down a little bit more before we put filler on it. I got two different sticks now. The middle, which is pretty flat, I'll be able to use that longer, thicker stick on. On the sides though, where it's more rounded each way, I'm gonna have to use something that's a little bit flexible, so I'll use this smaller, thinner stick. As I block the surface, I'm going to use different blocks. What I want to try to do is maintain as much surface contact between the block and the surface as possible. So, when you block, you don't want to block this way because I'm not making very much surface contact. You want to do whatever gets the most surface contact between the block and the surface. So that's why I would block this way. You're also kind of connecting the dots to make it a flawless, seamless surface. So if I connect the dots this way, I'm just creating dips. If I do this way, I'm going to cross those dots, those highs and lows, connect them. And I'll use an X pattern, a cross hatching pattern. I wouldn't want to sand straight. It's going to give you straight line scratches. So I'll sand at an angle all the way across. You kind of uniformly keep moving and taking it down. So if I got more surface, I'll use a bigger block. Out there, I'll use the longest block I can use. As I get towards the more curvy parts, I'll go to a shorter block that's more flexible. And I'll use that as far as I can. You see where it doesn't start. Right here, it doesn't connect anymore. It just falls off. The surface falls away from the block. So I get something even more flexible. This thing's rubber. Now I use that. If it gets really curvy, I use something that's super flexible to get that final curve out. let's take a look at it and see if we can read what it's telling us. So basically, from what I'm reading, it's telling me actually, it's showing our low spots, the dark spots where it's not sanded. It's because the block didn't make contact with it. So that's a low spot. A few little spots you can see where there was some grinding done, probably some heavy rust or something on there, chip that rusted, got sanded, or a grinder taken to it. There's some pitting here and there. And then overall, these dark lines, light line, dark line, light line, that's your waviness. That's from the passes with the blaster. If they took the blaster and went across this thing, it could have put that indentation into the metal. The good thing is the roof is solid. It's not tin cannon, oil cannon moving around, so at least we've got something we can work on. So when you see these lines like this in a roof or any panel, you want to make sure that that's not just from, say, a heavy spray pattern, putting on primer or something like that. That could leave streaks, but it's not. It's definitely the metal. So this whole roof is wavy. I'm pretty sure it's probably from blasting. So we'll have to wipe this whole roof. It's not going to take much. It's going to be very, very thin. It's just more than it's going to come out with priming, especially on this side. This side's got a little bit deeper waves to it. Probably had some rust or something that they had to stay on it for a minute with the blaster. But really, it's in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of a dip back here, but all these areas are really small, but they've got to be straightened out. I'm going to DA this whole roof with 80 grit so the filler gets a really good bite to it. Sand all the edges and get ready to wipe it from one end to the other with a real thin coat. Yay, fun. So when you're doing this, like we're doing the whole truck, it's best to do a panel at a time or so. You don't want to sand and block this and everything else. It gets to be too much to work with at one time. So just take it a panel at a time, a section at a time, and it'll be a lot easier to get done. So everything's sanded with 80 grit now, and we also took red Scotch-Brite to all the little cracks and crevices, get everything sanded to make sure that our filler's going to stick to it. That's another reason for using epoxy, is we don't have to take that off. Our filler's going to stick really good to that epoxy, and the epoxy helps provide that corrosion protection that we wanted. So let's apply some filler. Remember, put it on thin. Thin coats are better than thick coats. We don't need very much on here at all, just a skim coat. So the more you put on, the more you got to take off. So try to get it as thin as possible. It's hard to do. Well, would you look at that? It's Beer 30. Good time to go around, get it out of the cracks and crevices where you know you don't need it before it hardens up completely. Okay, our filler has dried, so now we're going to go around with 80 grit and shape this thing. So any Bondo made it into these cracks and stuff, you want to sand that out each time before you wipe again, so you don't lose the crack. You want to keep that clean because that's kind of our reference point. So this is how our roof should look right now. We've got all these high spots showing up. Got a few little low spots. We'll go around and sand all these so the filler will stick. this is what it should look like. There's not very much filler left on because you can see through it in most spots. And all those waves and high spots and low spots that we have, we skim through those. And you sand down until you start hitting the high spots. And that's when you know when to stop. If you keep sanding, when you get to metal, it's not going anywhere. It'll just dig this out. So once you start seeing it, you gotta move on to another area. So I went around and wiped the spots that needed just a little bit more filler. It's kind of dangerous sometimes. You gotta be careful doing this because as you're sanding the new spots, you're also sanding the old filler. So you can create waves. So you have to really concentrate and stay on top of where you just wiped. Sometimes it's better just to skim the whole thing than it is to try to do little spots and then bring it all back together. All right, I'm gonna go around and knock down these small spots of filler that I put on. I'm trying to concentrate on staying on top of that and not create waves. So let's knock that out. Now you can see the initial wipe, second wipe, filling those low areas, a couple of spots. I had to hit a couple little spots one more time. But everything that's dry, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna block over with 180 and try to cut out some of the 80 grit marks, clean up the edges. The roof is cut down in 180. I'm gonna go ahead and do the back of the cab. I think most of this is gonna just be waves that will block out. Hopefully we won't have to work filler over the whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the big spots and then prime the whole thing. Prime time. So there it is. First priming of the roof and the back of the cab. We got VP 2050 on there. It's a direct to metal high build primer. I really like that primer. It's going to help lock everything down, give us some meat to work on and sand. So join us next time and we'll sand it all off. Thanks for watching.